All right, today's movie that you don't hate. All right, so the Indiana Jones franchise has actually spawned two great sequels since 1981. And one not so great sequel in 2008, which was Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. So me and Manny are here to talk to you about why you don't actually hate it.
Now, this is going to be probably the biggest challenge in our short career when it comes to making this show. I saw it today, and it does have some redeeming qualities. It's not that bad. You know how South Park portrayed it was horrible with them raping Indy. I mean, that was just.
Well, Indiana Jones, you're looking nice.
That was funny, but
Yeah,
but I don't take it to that extent. I mean, it was okay. It wasn't that bad, and $300 million proves that a lot of people did not, hate it
right.
at first anyway, because $300 million, that's just not something that you just, is easy to do. So,
I mean, one of the things that, like you mentioned, it's like $300 million that this movie made means that everybody's a fan of Indiana Jones. And everybody wanted to see Harrison Ford back. So at age 66, when this movie came out, we got to see Harrison Ford back in his fedora, back with his whip, back out there doing the stunts that we saw in Temple of Doom and Raiders of the Lost Ark and Last Crusade. Those are the things that were great about this movie. We got to relive those things with Indy and Harrison Ford, and he was still able to do it, minus a few stuntmen. He was still able to do those, and it wasn't like we saw him and we're like, oh my god, he's old. We're just like, oh man, it's just an older Indy.
okay, so let's talk about some of the things that people just always mention about what they hate about it.
Right.
Okay, so let me see if you can redeem these.
Okay, we're gonna try.
Okay,
it. Right.
the number one of the top things is that everybody cannot stand is the refrigerator.
Okay.
It's 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
The hiding in the refrigerator and surviving the nuclear blast. So,
How do I redeem that?
how do you redeem that?
You can't kill Indy. If anybody can survive a nuclear blast,
In a refrigerator.
it's gonna be Harrison Ford. I mean,
Would Han Solo survive a
Han- freaking Han Solo beat Vader. Come on, man.
What? When?
In the first one.
How?
He shot Vader.
When?
Do you not know your Star Wars movie?
He didn't shoot Vader. He shot Vader in Empire, and Vader blocked it, and then he took his gun away.
No. In the Millennium Falcon.
What? Yahoo! Look out! You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
Oh yeah.
Wait, let's talk about that.
Okay, so Harrison Ford can survive.
So Harrison Ford can survive a nuclear blast, and that's all you need to say about it, is that Harrison Ford can survive it. What's the next thing that people talk about?
Okay, they
Harrison Ford can survive a nuclear
That's
blast.
what they- yeah.
Go ahead.
the Gophers and the horrible CGI on a lot of this stuff.
Okay, I mean, at the time that the movie came out, everybody was doing CGI. I mean, that was the thing. Everybody was getting away from practical effects. Everybody was really jumping on the train, the CGI train, and trying to show you things that they couldn't do. I mean, who's gonna get a Gopher Wrangler to come in there? Who's gonna get a Monkey Wrangler to come in there and it's like, okay, teach the monkey to swing here, and do that? Is that you do it easy with CGI? Yes, it was jarring, but everybody's movie at that time was jarring with the CGI because it hadn't got to the state of CGI is now. that.
Well, I think that a lot of it, is it kind of just, like they were taking the easy way out. The
Okay,
reason why the first three did so well was because a lot of their effects were actual effects. I mean, they actually went and they made it work. It's kind of like trying not to get off subject, but it's kind of like horror,
Okay.
or blood. When you've got Tom Savini and those guys doing these really good blood scenes. And then you fast forward and they're doing squibs and with the exception of The Walking Dead, they're pretty cool in there. But other than that, I mean, it's lazy. It's borderline lazy. So I get it. I understand why a lot of people didn't like that, about the movie. But that's not,
But the back then,
worst freaking thing, I mean,
but back then they did that out of necessity. It was like
Right, so
when he did in 1981, and he had to do practical effects.
So-
I mean, he had to do that
so
because
when
there
did you
was no
think-
CGI.
so-
I mean, it was,
yeah, right,
it was
but-
horrible back then.
But like there's sometimes that you can use it, and to your
So you
advantage,
think
it'll be
you-
fine.
okay.
But don't you think that from a nostalgia standpoint, if you waited all this time to watch a movie in 2008 when the last show was like in '89? Wouldn't you still want, for nostalgia purposes, wouldn't you still want those practical effects to?
I think we think that now. I think we think that now because we saw a time period of bad CGI. I think we think that now. I think back then when we actually got bad CGI, we just expected it. That's how they did movies going forward. So it wasn't. We weren't movie snobs like we are today. It needs to look realistic and it needs to look gritty. We're movie snobs right now, to be honest. Really, we're movie snobs. So back then,
But there's more haters now.
Oh yeah, but back then he didn't know that if I did it more practical, people would respect the practical aspect over it. The CGI, he was thinking it was like, hey, CGI is a new tool, and I want to use this new tool to give me some things I couldn't physically do. It's I mean,
Kind of like.
it's the Star Wars thing all over again. But
No, but kind of like Terminator. You had those effects that really. I mean, that was the fakest Arnold you could ever freaking see when he's cutting his eye out.
Yeah.
And then you go to Terminator 2 where you got the T-1000 is freaking melting and coming up and all
Yeah.
that. So I mean, I get it, and to some degree, and that's what I say. You do it slowly. You don't freaking go and.
okay, well, lesson learned.
Yeah, I guess. Well,
Lesson learned, but it still doesn't make it worse. It makes it okay. It's a downer part of the movie to see the CGI because it definitely doesn't hold up well. But you can understand what he was trying to show you. He was trying to show you this wild scenario that could happen in an Indiana Jones movie with a way that he could easily do. So that we just got to look at it a different way. I mean, the scene, if you like it or not, the CGI isn't what shouldn't make you not like it. You should really just talk
Okay.
about the scene itself.
now you go from the Ark,
Mm-hmm.
then you go to the Temple of Doom, then you go to the Last Crusade. Where does science fiction and alien world tie into an Indiana Jones movie? And that's what killed it for me.
Okay.
Because to be honest with you, some of those, the Shia swinging and all that. I mean, that was kind of stupid, but
Everybody has their bad parts. Of the movie.
but from the beginning to really the middle is an Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah,
it is an Indiana Jones movie.
And if we want to bring up the aliens, I don't know if you guys have watched a little channel called the History Channel. And on the History Channel, there's a little show they like to call, Ancient Aliens. And dang it, Indiana Jones was ahead of the time. Was ahead of the History Channel with the Ancient Aliens. And that's all they were saying. It was like, yes, people have a problem with the fact that the whole plot of the movie was about basically finding aliens. But these same people don't have a problem with the simple fact that we found the Ark of the Covenant and it was melting people's faces off in the other Indiana Jones. People don't have a problem with the fact that we had basically like a cult pulling out hearts and stuff just to get some glowing rocks. Nobody has a problem with these two movies.
Kill these rocks, man!
Throw some aliens in the movie. People got a problem with it. And they're ancient aliens. The aliens were here before us. It's an Indiana Jones scenario, just with aliens. But it's an Indiana Jones scenario, and that's my that's my point here. So what were the other things that people had a problem with?
Well, that was probably the biggest, and there was the Shia.
Shia. Okay.
Shia. And now you now during prep we were going back and forth a little bit. No, not us.
No, because we
But
did
you
no prep.
but
That's
you
not us at all.
had a freaking good point, and that was that the Indiana Jones that we loved were in the 30s and 40s,
Right.
and this one is in the 50s. So he's older, yes, but the times have changed.
Right.
And Roswell was in the late
It was
40s.
It was in the 50s.
The late 40s, early 50s, around there, yeah. So why not? Why is it so hard to believe?
We transitioned, and I think the problem that people have with seeing Shia was that his character was out of place for Indiana settings. Not the simple fact that, well, maybe some people didn't like Shia, but because of the Transformer movies, Transformer fan. But his character and his dress was out of place because they were in jungles. They were in dusty roads. They were
Dusty Rhodes was in this movie?
They were in dusty roads, and they were in the factory. So his manner of dress for the movie made it really kind of out of place. But that was once again them just trying to show us that, like, hey, this is not a 30s film. This is not a 40s film. We're actually now in a 50s. So I get why they did it. Could there have been a better suggestion than, like, hey, Shia, go change clothes before you go out here on this adventure with me? Yeah. But I get why they did it. So, I mean, if they want to bash him for, kind of not being what they wanted for Indiana's son, okay. But there was a point for that, and if you can get past it and you can accept what it was and what they were trying to show you, then it's not that big of a deal.
So, they're gonna make another one.
Yes.
Would you have Shia come out?
Nope. If I have Shia come out, Shia is gonna do like the best impression of Harrison Ford that he can possibly do, and he will have to sell me on the simple fact that he is still his son. Which, to be honest, I don't think they're gonna do that anymore.
I kind of didn't like that. That
he had a son.
That they brought the son in and all that.
Well, so that brings up another.
Like Superman Returns. He's got the. I didn't like that.
But that's Superman. It's like Harrison Ford's human, and Superman can't have kids. I mean, he can't have kids in the comic book, yes. Before y'all attack me in the comments, yes, Superman can have a child. I get it.
Hey, that's gonna be a future installment, by the way.
Oh, okay,
Superman Returns.
But what you said was that about him basically having a family, which was a little off-putting for people watching an Indiana Jones movie. One of the great things is that we got continuity with this. They brought freaking Marion back, so I mean, if we can have her back, we hadn't seen her in a movie or two, something like that. So they brought her back, so they basically gave continuity to the films. It was like, because normally with the Indiana Jones films, they don't really reference a time, and you don't know which came first, if he did this adventure before this adventure. I mean, obviously, as they were made, you kind of just assume, and as he got older, this one obviously came last with The Last Crusade. But the simple thing is that they could have been any time. This could have been when he was young. This could have been when he was older. This is just saying that he's out doing this adventure. It could have been next freaking week after he basically was.
You did it in front of them.
Yes, I did it because I want to make sure I didn't mess up. After they opened up the freaking Ark of the Covenant and they melted off faces. Next week he could have went to the temple. He could have been to the temple next week, or it could have been two years later to go to the temple, and that's the whole thing. So it gave you a continuity to let you know that time was progressing, and that he hadn't forgot about the people. He was still in contact with the people in previous films.
If you really break it down, as far as the entire movie, he is still solving puzzles. He's still, finding different, finding himself in different predicaments, and so there's a lot of the previous movies in there.
I mean, it was all the previous, basically
the ending. Well, it's spoiler, but whatever. Mm-hmm. The ending when they're knocking the things down, the sand's coming out, and the thing comes up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's Indiana Jones.
Exactly. That's what you
he's
expect
doing
to see.
solving stuff. Kind of like Uncharted. Which Uncharted is probably loosely based on freaking Indiana Jones. But,
it is.
But you have that that's still there. So all of those things are still there that we love from the other one. So
I mean,
it's not as bad as everybody makes it out to be. Is it perfect? No. Is it probably the worst out of the whole thing? In my opinion, no. I think that Temple of Doom is. That's just my opinion. I don't like Temple of Doom.
There you go.
It's okay.
He puts Temple of Doom last.
I would say it. F it. You can write it down and say I'm stupid and crazy. But Data was in it.
That's
Data was in it, and he had the. Do you think he had the glove with the boxing glove come out?
Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. So before we wrap it up with that, the couple other things that I kind of wanted to touch on is that, like you said, that this movie, harking back to previous Indiana Jones movies. We're in the 50s, so the Nazis are gone. We got the Soviets to take their place. I mean, they were communist regime. You know, they were the closest thing that we can get to Nazis, and,
Right.
and obviously in the movie they kind of did a Nazi impression with how focused they were with trying to get there before him and him trying to stop them. We got to see old Indy with the whip swinging and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
he did a little comical scene where he fell back.
Back
on it.
into the-
But that's something that you would have seen in a previous Indiana Jones too. So these are all the stuff that you loved about Indiana Jones. You got in this movie, and it's like
Yeah,
for
I'm not-
people
I
not
mean-
to like it doesn't make sense.
For me too, there were some parts of, you know, now I know that it's nonfiction, but there were a lot of parts that were just too unbelievable.
Okay.
There is a
Have you not
scene-
seen an Indiana Jones?
Yes, I know, but well, the airplane, the raft when they throw
Oh,
the raft
yeah.
out, that was kind of cool. But
Mhm.
but this one, you know, when that wheel is coming down
Mhm.
and it's going in between them and they duck,
Mhm.
it goes right over Karen Allen. How is she not dead?
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, there are certain parts in the movie.
Do you remember the Last Crusade when they were sitting there and the boat propeller was going and they were like, you know, are you ready to meet God? Because I am, and they're sitting there and stuff like that. It was the slowest trek towards the and you want to talk about unbelievable? You want to talk about unbelievable?
All right, fine. That was just that one part that was just. Now the part that I liked actually, and I don't care if anybody don't like it, but I like the ants. That part with the ants, that was just like so freaking cool. I thought it was just, I mean, you imagine that happening, especially when they pull the dude inside the freaking ant pot, like inside the ant. I mean, that was just, I liked it. I liked that part. So.
He was trying to show us something different. He was trying to one up, the previous films and give us something that, like I said, back with the CGI, that he couldn't do practical.
The alien thing just was not, it just didn't belong in there. Now, whether or not
on
it
a
was,
list of things that
whether or
there's stuff
not,
in Indiana Jones films, Alien scares everybody.
whether or not you you mentioned you make good points on the ancient aliens and all that. Yes, but it just doesn't belong in an Indiana Jones movie. So when they make Indy 5 the apology, I'm pretty sure that it'll
I'll tell you
make
what,
everybody happy.
Indy 5 The Apology will feature Harrison Ford, Angelina Jolie, and Mark Wahlberg. Because we'll get Indy, we'll get Laura Croft, and we'll get Nathan Drake, and that will be.
Oh God, I hope they don't make him Nathan Drake. Nathan Fillion, will you please take the role, please?
He's getting kind of old though.
I don't care. He's freaking awesome. I love you.
Mark Wahlberg was actually in the running for. He was
no.
actually, I believe, he was actually signed to the movie, and then they kind of killed the movie for a while. and he
No, I'll
dropped
settle
out.
for Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper is going to be a younger Indy.
I don't care. Anyway.
All right. So bottom line is that a lot of people have flaws with this movie. Well, the movie has flaws, and a lot of people have gripes with this movie. But basically, what we talked about, you don't really hate this movie.
You don't hate this movie.
Nah, you don't hate it at all.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, actually, before we go, we just want you to give this video. Give it a like and a thumbs up to let us know that you enjoyed it and that you actually want to see more of us. And please don't forget to comment below. Make sure you leave comments to kind of let us know, one, other films that you actually want to see us talk about, because we need ideas, because I can keep going into movies nobody likes that I like still. Or you can give me some ideas and some suggestions, or you can tell us what you actually like, why you like this movie, and give us more feedback and more things to kind of talk about in future episodes.
Absolutely.
We'll also have some links below with our social media links. So on Facebook and on Twitter, we're available.
Yes.
And so hit us up, leave us a comment, let us know what you think. And I'm Terrence.
I'm Manny. Okay. Ready? Oh, sorry.
Today's movie that you don't hate, Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
I thought you were gonna say the. You said you were gonna say the
What are
title.
you doing?
You said say the title! You
No, I
said, you
didn't.
said say the full title.
I thought you said
You're gonna show the graphic that shows the title.
today's movie
Oh,
you
that you
don't
don't
hate. Blah
Fade to
blah
Black.
blah blah.
Oh, okay.
Man, we gotta start it over.
Right,
I was-
Pink.
Gosh.
I thought, oh, God damn it, that's where you should have title.
You're making
I gotta
my
do that.
job so much harder.
I'm
Just
sorry.
kidding.
I'm sorry.
Work with me.
I'm sorry. So, today's movie.
What was the thing on Bar Rescue? You need a drink.
Oh,
You need a drink, bitch. I need a drink, bitch.
Alright, so today's movie that you don't hate. No, I'm just saying. Today's movie that you don't hate, and then we're gonna pause for 2 seconds.
Yes.
Anyway.
And move your freaking leg.
I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. Why are y'all so picky? Well, see, you're actually no, Dad's good. You need to like curve. No, the other. Yes.
Well, you just told me my leg.
I just want your leg touching my leg.
That's weird.
Was it?
You don't love me no more.
Get your leg off my hand. Get your hand off my leg. Yeah. I even shuffle. He's like, get your leg off my hand. Get your hand off my hand. I can't remember.
Oh my god.